Hi, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. A special thank you to my patrons, Wild Rose, Lauren Chris, That British Unicorn, Jam Beans, Debbie Elliott, and D. Higgins. We're back at it again with another the weekly Chantal. It's been an interesting week, you guys, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a lot. Get ready for a lot of shit talking. So without any further ado, let's jump into it, shall we? So the first video that we have is basically her saying that she's not feeling too well. I sympathize with her, I do. But when I see her like double fisting gravy, it's very hard for me to muster the appropriate level of empathy, because I sometimes feel like while you are suffering from these things, and while I'm sure they're awful and painful and bad for you, you are also actively making your situation worse. So it makes it very hard for me to look at the situation and go, oh wow, I'm so sorry for Chantal, when you yourself are taking 0 steps to improve your situation.
So this is not the video that I thought I would be making. I was actually going to do a recipe for you guys, and I was really excited to do that, have all the ingredients ready, and I started getting ready. I'm in my nightgown now, but I did put most of my makeup on, and after I did my makeup, and I'm kind of just leaving my hair, trying to let it be natural because as you can see it's really damaged. But after I did my makeup, I just kind of crashed.
She's wearing a skin filter. Chantal's skin is, I mean, it's not awful for what it could be given her absolutely horrendous diet, but her skin isn't that great. And I think much like Amber, she has a habit of falling asleep with her makeup on. There's the video that she did, I think last week, where she like goes to drive around a national park and she's feeding the animals. And the thumbnail is just of her face, and you can really see the texture in her skin. Now, skin texture is a real thing, and also I have atrocious skin, so like I don't even know why I think I'm qualified to be talking about this. But I also don't wear a filter on my face. I barely edit even my like selfies, and part of it is laziness, but also another part of it is that I genuinely don't believe in it. I think that people should understand what human skin looks like. You're never going to look like a porcelain doll, and striving for that aesthetic I don't think that's great. It's like harmful for people, and it's encourages like spending a ton of money on very expensive products that promise you the moon and basically deliver you nothing but a poster of the moon, you know? So I don't mind that she doesn't have perfect skin. What I mind is her claiming to have perfect skin and then sticking a filter over top of her face and essentially lying to her audience about it. She's not a beauty guru as much, so this is a significantly less offensive thing to me. But if you are a beauty guru, you like push makeup products and skincare products and all that stuff, and you're doing this shit at the same time where you're putting up like essentially where you're just putting up filters on your skin to give it a smoother texture and attributing that smoothness to like a product, that's a garbage move.
And that's what I've been struggling with the past while, actually. Trying to be really energetic and, you know, normal, I guess you could say, in my videos, but behind the scenes I'm battling some health issues.
Does she understand the meaning of the words behind the scenes? It's not been behind the scenes. She's talked about it extensively on the channel.
And just constantly going to the bathroom. Yeah, it's going to be a bit TMI, but going to the bathroom about, I would not exaggerating, about 10 times a day, and it's painful when I go, and it's diarrhea, and I don't feel good at all. Like, I can just tell that it feels a lot different from my usual problems, from just, this is not just from eating something bad, because it doesn't matter what I eat. I had a very healthy breakfast, you know, fiber cereal with blueberries and some eggs, and it doesn't matter what I eat, salad, everything just triggers me to go to the bathroom, and it's becoming increasingly more painful.
Look, I get that she's not feeling well, but eating healthy for 1 meal, for 2 meals, for a week is not a fix to when you're eating unhealthy. When if you're eating unhealthy, you're eating unhealthy. The damage it's doing to your body, it's is gonna be there, right? Eating healthy basically will slow that down a little bit, maybe, and if you continue for a long period of time, it might even start to reverse it, as long as you're doing the whole package and not just eating a healthy breakfast every once in a while. But expecting one healthy breakfast to do the heavy lifting of carrying all of those unhealthy meals that you've been eating for days and days and days and days is, I don't know what you're expecting from this. Like, do they need like the Hulk level of strength, or like, I don't understand what she's expecting. That's all. On the topic of her diet, Chantal has two extremes. She has the extreme where she's mukbanging every day and, like I said, double fisting gravy. And then she has the other extreme where she's like trying to go on a juice cleanse for 7 days. What she needs is an actual healthy diet plan by someone who knows what they're doing, so registered RD, and then she needs to stick to it. And she needs to stick to it, and she needs to do it every single day for like 3 months without question, without thought, without considering anything else. Follow it to the T. And if it doesn't work, then you can try something else. But slow and steady weight loss is the best way to lose weight. It is also the most healthy and sustainable. And it's not going to trigger that urge to like binge and restrict that we've seen in her, right? Have a healthy plan worked out with someone who knows what they're talking about, and reduce your calories little by little by little, and lose your weight slowly. Because I know she just wants to get it over with. That's part of her impulsiveness. She just wants to do the thing and then, be a skinny legend and it'll be great. But that's not how life works. It took you years to get to this point. It's going to take you years to get out of it, especially if you want to stay in that healthy area.
Just do maybe different kind of videos for now, because I don't really have much of an appetite, honestly, guys. And when I do eat, it's not things that are honestly video worthy.
I'm glad she's going to be doing more of her different content, her vlogs, whatnot. I tend to enjoy those maybe a little bit more than her just doing mukbangs, but that's also because editing around her chewing is so difficult for me. I try and cut out as much of the chewing as I possibly can, but it grosses me out, and I don't like doing it. And it's so hard and so time consuming, and already I'm terrible at this whole editing gig anyway. So I like to keep it to bare minimum wherever I can. She's gonna have some homemade meals. That should fill me with confidence, but it doesn't, because the words homemade are very loose to Chantal. They don't really mean as much as they would to someone else. I made homemade burgers a few days ago, and everything, including the bun, was made from scratch, right? That's what I mean when I say homemade. I had pasta in comparison a few days ago, and I used a sauce that was out of the jar, and even then I felt well, it's not really homemade, right? It's just home put together at best. She needs to make homemade meals, 100% homemade. I'm not saying make bread from scratch. That's just because I like doing it. But she needs to put more effort than just sticking something into the microwave, sticking something into the oven. Additionally, just because something is homemade doesn't mean that it's better for you. If you guys remember, she recreated a recipe from Simply Sarah, the mac and cheese one that she did. That was homemade. That was absolutely awful for her.
I think I may, if I don't start to feel better, have to go into emergency just to make sure that I don't need some kind of hydration.
I've said this before, I am Canadian, so I'm speaking on this from experience, but you absolutely do not need to go into the emergency room for every single thing. Call your actual doctor. Your doctor can tell you if you need to go to the emergency room, or if you just can, I don't know, if you'll just be fine. Fun fact, I had the chicken pox when I was 10. And unlike with most people who just get chicken pox and they go away, me and my brother got it at the same time. He got better. I did not. My chicken pox crossed the blood-brain barrier, and essentially I had a seizure, and then I was in a coma for 2 days. Fun fact. I don't remember any of this, so I suppose my mother could be lying, but I don't see the incentive for her doing so. The reason I bring this up is that when I had gotten sick, right, my mom had called the doctor, and the doctor told her what to do. And then once my exterior, the chicken pox on my outer skin, faded, but I was still running a very high fever and was still extremely weak, my mother called her again and asked the doctor, hey, it's been a few weeks, she's not really getting better, what do I do? And the doctor advised my mom, he's like, hey, bring her to my office. My mom took me to her office, supposedly. Once more, no recollection of like an entire week of time, basically. And my mom took her to the hospital. My mom took me to the doctors. The doctors checked me out and said, you know what? Take her to the emergency room. Take her to Sick Children's Hospital. And that's where I went. I went to the Sick Children's Hospital. I think there's, the one in Toronto. The Sick Children's Hospital in Toronto. And then they checked me out. Wait, is that, no, that story is not right. No, I went to the Mississauga Hospital. And then they checked me out. And they said to go home, I might have a secondary infection. And then I had a seizure outside of the emergency room. And then I went to the Sick Children's Hospital. Good times. All I mean to say is that talk to your actual doctor first, because they'll be able to advise you a little bit better than just showing randomly up at the ER, especially in the middle of a global pandemic when you are in such a high-risk category and you could potentially pick something up from someone who is there for COVID-related reasons.
I'm really, for real, starting to be okay with getting, the fact that people are just going to talk about me no matter what I do in my videos, no matter what's going on in my life. So, why not?
She's 100% still not okay with criticism. I shouldn't say 100%. I'm 99.99% sure that Chantal is still not okay with receiving criticism from other people, because she's never fundamentally addressed the root of why she's not okay with receiving criticism. And I don't think until she sits down with a therapist and actually has that conversation and hashes it out with a therapist, I don't think Chantal's ever really going to be okay with admitting that she's never really going to feel comfortable with criticism of any form. So, I think that claim is all full of crap. Anyway, next.
Hey guys, hey. Welcome back to another Foodie Beauty video. All right, so today I am going to cook a homemade meal, and we're going to drive down a street here in Ottawa that is known to have tons of holiday decorations. So I'm wondering if this year they'll do that. We're going to go drive later and see that after dinner. Actually, before dinner. So a lot of you are probably wondering how I'm feeling today. I am feeling better, going to the washroom a lot less, but then again, I've been eating less and I have been very mindful of what I'm putting in my mouth. I am trying to eat as many BRAT items as I can, just very bland food, not too much fiber. I'm eating oatmeal with some blueberries. I'm going to be picking up some groceries later, which will have some healthier food, at least until I can figure out what's going on with my digestive system.
So the BRAT diet, BRAT, I'm just going to call it the BRAT diet. The BRAT diet is bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. It is the diet given most often to children when they're sick. I remember that story about when I had chickenpox? I was on the BRAT diet during that time as well, because it was easy on my stomach. It didn't make me feel awful, and I was super nauseous. And generally it's given to kids, not exclusively, but it's supposed to be an easily digestible food. It's supposed to be very, very mild and intrusive and like light on flavor, so that you can eat it with no real repercussions and no worry that you'll throw up and might throw up the medicine with it. Like, that's a real problem with kids. But the way that it helps is not that inherently the foods do anything. It's just that those foods are very mild and they don't have a lot of strong flavor. So she's having stomach problems and she should be on the BRAT diet, and she's not on the BRAT diet. She's instead going to be eating those foods and eating everything else as well. Then you're not doing the BRAT diet at all, essentially. Because the foods that are part of the BRAT diet are foods that people eat on a regular basis regardless.
And until I could feel a bit better. So, that being said, to take proactive action on my own for now, besides eating a healthier diet, I am also taking a probiotic. And the one I'm using right now is Mary Ruth's Probiotic and Turmeric. I did purchase this before, however, I wasn't taking it consistently, so now I am going to be taking it consistently.
So there's some evidence suggesting that C. diff can actually be improved with getting like probiotics. That said, she doesn't actually need to take a pill like this, and this vitamin is expensive. I would recommend that instead she just eat yogurt. Yogurt would be a much better option for her. Quite frankly, she eats enough pickles that I'm surprised that she needs to be taking additional probiotics. I don't think it's recommended by her doctor. I think she's just taking them because she thinks they'll help, not really understanding fundamentally the way that your body works. Great. More Christmas lights. Yay! I'm not hating on Christmas lights here. I think they're great fun to go see. But that's like secondhand seeing is not entertaining for me, and their commentary isn't anything great. Like, if I was there, I would enjoy it. But since I'm not there, I'm not enjoying it.
Because Pete and I are going to have like a little, going to make a little holiday meal for you guys. Bananas, which need to ripen. But they're good for the BRAT diet. I'm not eating just the BRAT diet because honestly, no matter how I'm feeling, I'll go crazy if I eat just that kind of food.
See, this makes me feel like whatever she's experiencing can't possibly be that bad because, you know, she's not sticking to the BRAT diet. I don't get it, but I don't get like 99.99% of Chantal's decisions. I guess that's not really surprising in and of itself.
So we're just having a eye of round oven roast. I weighed this. It's 1.8 pounds. So it's a small roast, which is perfect just for both of us. As you can see, it's a very lean cut of meat, not much fat. So, which is also good for us.
The Instapot is great. Absolutely fantastic for tougher cuts of meat. First of all, tougher cuts of meat tend to have a lot more flavor, like that beefy umami flavor, than I think like more tender cuts of meat do. One of the reasons why my favorite piece of meat is not actually a tenderloin, it's not like filet mignon, it's generally tends to be a ribeye, because while it has a lot of that flavor, that beefy flavor, it's also got a great texture, whereas filet mignon I found often is just all texture. I like the tougher cuts. I like that delicious taste. But they can be hard to eat, as the name implies, right? So slow cooking them is a great way to get them to be that delicious fall off the bone tenderness. But if you don't have time to cook something for hours and hours and hours, the Instapot is a great shortcut method. I don't know how well she has done it because that beef looks a little tough.
Juicy.
But I'm not there.
And it cut very
and I also
easily,
don't really eat roast
I have a good
lot,
knife,
so I don't. I mean, it's not.
We're gonna
a thing.
see
Like,
how it is.
I will rather either have like
tougher
meat
cut
that's
of meat.
like mid-rare,
I think next
or
time I'll go with leaner cut.
essentially just like stew falling
a
off the bone, sort of very, very tender consistency.
more tender
This
cut
in the middle
in the
thing
future.
is not a thing I eat anyway.
I like the beef
so I don't
that
really
just
know,
shreds
but
apart.
it looks to me that
I'm not sure what kind
that
of
it's,
meat
like,
that would
really,
be. If
really
you
tough.
guys
I don't
know,
what
let me know.
recipe she's following.
So
unless she's
I'm
just
still gonna
going
eat
off of
this.
it on her,
Looks good.
You know, just winging
And
it essentially.
let's eat.
The Instapot needs a lot longer to cook like a piece of meat that big down. You would need significantly longer. But whatever. I mean, if she likes it, she likes it. You know, good on her. Enjoy your meat. Next.
Hey guys, hey guys, hey, how are you? Just driving to try the new Swiss Chalet holiday meal. It's one of my favorites. I get it at least once a year. Holiday season, they have a special holiday meal, and I'll show you guys what that is when we get there.
Okay, so she's going to Swiss Chalet to get their festive meal, and that she's feeling better. Yay! We all know how you can heal 100% from things, and you know, especially when you've been eating healthy at home, and that will carry over 100% when you're eating terrible foods outside too. First of all, Swiss Chalet is, I don't know, I don't like it. It's like Boston Market, if you guys have ever had that on the East Coast. I don't like that place either. I think all of it is like bland nonsense. Second, didn't she say that she was going to be making a holiday meal at home? So why is she buying holiday meals from outside if she's just going to be making them at home as well? She's talking about Catimovic again. If you guys remember, that is the program that she did where she like went around and I think they built homes or something. I forget. But she's just going to be talking about that again and out. Most of this is like it's pre-Catimovic like leading up to her leaving for Katimovic, so it's not directly tied into that, but you know.
When I was a teenager, I used to catfish. I didn't like do it all the time. Like I catfished this guy in particular. And I did it because I started having feelings for him. I didn't think it would go anywhere. I just started having fun. It's like online, I'm never gonna. But we started getting like really into it. We really clicked on a personal level. And I felt like if he likes me as a person and he fell in love with the person because he doesn't know what I really look like, why would it matter what I look like? And then I realized he fell in love with the idea of me. Like I told him I look like Mandy Moore, for crying out loud. The thing I don't get is he was probably a catfish too, because I begged him for a picture and the only one he ever sent me was a blurred ass picture of him. Like this guy was like a computer tech guy and you don't have any good pictures.
Okay, this guy not sending her the information. If he is a tech person, that might actually track. Most tech people I know are very, very paranoid. They're the kind of people who are like, if you can live in a cabin in the middle of the woods with no electricity, that's how you can keep your information safe. Like, they tend to be a very paranoid lot as a whole. And I think it's because they are much more well-versed in the way that this can go wrong than I think the average person is. So it makes them very paranoid. If it's true, I would not be surprised. Additionally, Chantal thinks everyone's a catfish because she is a catfish. She thinks that, well, you know, I use better pictures with great lighting when I was significantly thinner to attract people. So I don't understand why anybody would do that. Whereas a lot of people would not want to do that because they're just like, well, why would I lie to somebody? If they're going to like me, if they're going to want to have a relationship with me, they should want to have a relationship with me. She doesn't, like, it doesn't click in her head.
But I figure he wouldn't hate on me because he did that too, you know? Anyway. It was messed up. And I did it because I was 17 or 16. And I really hated my body. Like, I hated him. I would starve myself. I starved myself at one point for a while. And I contribute a lot of that from how I treated myself with these crazy diets and starvation and to my issues with food that I have today. With eating too much and then restricting. So I, as a fat kid, got bullied all my life. Like, you know.
I get that. The not feeling secure, especially, I really do empathize with that. I've had a lot of times in my life where I felt that way. Sometimes in relationship to my weight, but not always. A lot of times I felt that way in relationship to just, you know, I'm a brown person and I've been in spaces where I was the only person with melatonin in their skin. I was the darkest person in that room, which is, I mean, that's like really freaking weird to me because I'm, like I said, middle of the middle, right? But I've been in some situations where it's so glaringly obvious and it's uncomfortable. I've also frequently been in environments where I'm the only woman there. And that also makes me feel that way. That's just that insecure feeling where you don't feel like you're enough, you know, or that you can't be yourself, that you can't be 100% authentic because no one would understand. And most of the time, it was my own insecurity that I was projecting onto other people. But a couple of times it was because I just stood out. People didn't want to be my friend because I was the odd thing. And this was very common when I was younger. We tended to move a lot, my parents and I. And so it was like common in school. But as I got older, I became more confident in myself and I grew out of it to a certain extent. But I remember that feeling. That feeling doesn't go away.
And we got there, and that night we ordered Domino's. That was the first time I ever ate Domino's, and I was like, wow, this is so good. I guess because it was new.
Domino's is trash tier pizza, and yes, I can and will fight anyone who disagrees with me. Not to sound too much like a Pete's, but I generally don't tend to like a lot of chain pizzas. If I have to pick one, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Pizza Hut, but I like Pizza Hut in the Middle East because I was in the Middle East once and I had a chicken tikka pizza, and it's like changed my life. Nothing will ever compare to that pizza. It was like perfection. Those two things, it's like a marriage made in heaven. Chicken tikka on a pizza. Perfect.
I don't remember how we got... I remember taking a train into downtown New York. And we got to this train station. This iconic station. There is something magical about New York City. I don't know what it is. It's just...
The station that she's talking about, that iconic station, is called Grand Central Station. And that magical thing that New York has that everyone remembers it by, it is not, as one would think, the giant skyscrapers or Rockefeller Center or the overabundance of people who work on Broadway. It is the smell of pee. New York smells more like pee than any other place I have ever visited in my entire life. And I've been to the Red District in Amsterdam, okay? I've been to the streets of Thailand. And I'm telling you, the pee smell in New York is like off the charts. I don't know why. It's soaked in pee.
We went to this... Is it St. Patrick's Cathedral, the really popular one? There was a woman sleeping on a... was using a big bag of rice for a pillow. And she grabbed my hand and she looked at me and said, "Please, do you have any money?" And I remember my grandfather giving me, at the time that was a lot of money for me, $100 American. And I gave her some of my money. And I decided at that point to, I think the only thing I bought with my money, we went to FAO Schwartz, which was, oh my gosh, that toy store is amazing.
You know, that makes me really sad that she went to like FAO Schwartz and she had a good time, because I don't know if you guys know, but FAO Schwartz actually went under. I think their flagship store is still open in like Manhattan because it's like a cultural landmark at this point or something, and they've got that giant piano. But the actual company, the FAO Schwartz company, closed down, and it made me really sad.
You know, when people, I would mention it to her, like, oh yeah, there's a lot of homeless people. And that just seems to be the general attitude, but yet nobody ever really does anything. Unless, you know, there are shelters and things, but...
I find it really funny that she's like subtly trying to cast shade on people. She's like, yeah, everyone just talks about how there's homeless people, but like no one does anything about it. Ma'am, what are you doing about it? You gave some money to some homeless people many, many years ago, and what have you done about the homeless crisis in America or in Canada since then? That's right. Zero. So like, where do you get off judging other people for that?
The Rockefeller Center, the big tree that you see in like Home Alone. That was just so beautiful.
Okay, I'm going to offer an opinion here on the Christmas experience in Rockefeller Plaza. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate, especially from New Yorkers, because y'all are a rude bunch, okay? It's an overrated experience. It just is. There are too many people. It is very crowded. The hot chocolate is way overpriced. And even though it's beautiful, nothing is worth standing in a crowd when you're that cold. Nothing. No one will convince me otherwise. Okay? And I don't hate New York. I'm just playing. I'm from the East Coast, and I'm actually like, I'm part of the tri-state area. So like, bragging on New York is just it's part of what you do, I think, when you're there. Like, you make fun of New York, you make fun of New Jersey, you make fun of Connecticut. Like, you gotta. It's just a thing. I'm not from New York, if if it helps at all. I can't live anywhere where there's like that many people. It just, anxiety, man. It's a bitch. Anyway, next. So this is a live that she's done, and rather than going through and addressing little bits of it, I'm going to play all the clips that I think are important together, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts at the end, because I don't want to offer my opinions if this is the only place where you're receiving the information about Chantal's diagnosis piecemeal, because I think that anything I say, I will be saying it from a point of view of I have the entire picture. But if you don't have the entire picture, then I don't want you to be in that position where you are essentially just questioning and confused about why I'm saying what I'm saying, if that makes any kind of sense. So I'm going to play this, and this is a serious enough topic that I don't want to get anything wrong. I'm going to play the whole thing, just the parts that are important. It's like an hour and like 13 minutes or something, so I'm just going to play the parts that I think are important. I'm going to stitch them together. I want you guys to watch the whole thing. It should be a couple minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts.
This is so basically, I have C. diff. They called me today because the result doesn't come back right away. The nurse at the ER called me today. I have C. diff, which is not good. So I have to be on like vancomycin treatment for that. And I have another blood clot in my lung. So that's where the breathing, no wonder I can't breathe, and no wonder I have chest pain. Like, I don't even know how long. The first thing it said was that they found, they put like all the chronic, severe, like severe, extreme, severe, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So, that scared me, just the way he, like, all those, like, big words in front of it, of liver disease. You can reverse it with just losing weight. Like, I know I'm saying just losing weight, because if it was that easy, trust me, I would be thin. I'm sure a lot of people would be thin. So, even now, with all of these things, my mind and my addiction to food tells me I want to eat. I do believe that any kind of addiction really changes who you are as a person in a way. And I think that it's not always easy to, it just makes you live in denial, and it makes you an arrogant, it'll do whatever it can to protect itself, you know what I mean? Like, it will tell you to say things, it will lie to you. Whenever I told him my diagnosis, I was reading it to him. Maybe I can still read it to you guys. I was reading the fatty liver thing, the report. Hi, sweetie. Let me just tell you. Oh, my phone's dead. Shit. I have 3 phones on the go here. So, it's like, I'm like, my diagnosis, if you take out the liver, it's super chronic, extreme, severe fatty disease. Sorry. Oh.
I am going to start this off by saying that I am genuinely very sorry that she's sick. It doesn't bring me any joy. Like, I think that people think that if what I say is right, and, you know, that she has some misfortune that I've accidentally predicted, that it will make me feel vindicated. It will not. I will just feel sad, because it's a sad situation, because I don't want that for her. I don't want that for anybody. It's one of the reasons I try so hard to avoid saying any negative things about the way that she looks for the most part, right? Like, I don't want anything bad to happen to her. But I'm not surprised that this happened. This has been one of the longest periods where she's just done unadulterated mukbangs, back to back and back, like just eating everything awful. And then she went down that like rabbit hole where she was once again, you know, like body positivity and fat activism and and F you and Charlie Gold this and haters that. And I knew that something was coming. I did not know it was this, but I knew something was coming. I had personally thought that she would have to go somewhere for like Christmas shopping or whatnot. She might leave her house for something and just not be able to walk around the mall, and that would be what was coming. But I didn't expect this. Despite that, I'm not surprised. The older you get, the more your body will start to deteriorate. That's why the myth of metabolic healthiness is just so stupid to me when it comes from like the body positivity community. Metabolic health means absolutely nothing, and also it doesn't remain true as you age. And here's proof of that. Chantal's getting older and her body is giving out. And it's going to happen. It happens to everybody to some degree or another, but if you lead a happy and healthy life, you can prevent that for a pretty long period of time. It's not great, and I don't know if even this will serve as a rock bottom for her, because she's like laughing and joking about this. She doesn't seem really distraught. And I know everybody deals with like traumatic news in different ways, so I'm trying not to judge her too harsh for it. But she isn't giving me the impression of someone who has really taken the potential effect that these diagnoses could have on her seriously. What she needs more than anything else is serious, hardcore therapy. She needs to see a doctor. She needs to get her mental health addressed, because I think until she does, she's not going to get better. Chantal doesn't have the toolbox right now to fix her life, and to get that toolbox, she needs to go to therapy. It's not that I think she can't do it. I just don't think she can do it in the state that she's currently in, not by herself. I think she needs a lot of therapy. She needs a lot of help, and I think she needs to really want it. And that's the part that I'm struggling on right now. I don't think she does. Also, we don't even know if she actually has this, right? We don't know if she has non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because she's done this before, where she will get incomplete information and she'll self-diagnose essentially, and she'll tell us that I have this, cue the diabetes thing, and then she'll turn around and say, well, I never said I had it, just that I thought that it could be it. And she'll try and gaslight us when she herself fully believed that she had this thing. So until her doctors actually come back and like 100% confirm the diagnosis, I'm going to try and hold back some of my judgment. If she does have it, I'm very sorry. I really, really hope that you lose the weight and that you get better. If her doctors don't say something about this and she's perfectly fine, you still have a blood clot and you're still not doing great. So please get therapy, and please, please get better. Anyway, that will be pretty much it for everything that I have to say. I'm kind of sad. This is probably going to be a shorter video, and I don't really have a lot to say for most of it. Her life is a little bit sad right now. I really, really hope that this is not actually true, and that she's just overanalyzing and reading into it like she's sometimes prone to doing, and that she gets better, because I don't want anyone to suffer, man. It sucks. It makes me feel bad for her, but these are the consequences of her decisions. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, you can give me a thumbs down. That's totally okay. I respect everybody's opinion here, Leave me a comment down below if there's something you'd like me to really, really know. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit the notification bell down below, and hit all if you want to know when I upload any video. I've got all my social medias linked down below. I've got Instagram, where I have all my food stuff and my life stuff, but I don't really have a life right now, so it's just food stuff. But I'm a pretty good cook, so you can follow me there. I've got Twitter, where I'm a little bit toxic and a little bit petty, but it's also the place where you can interact with me the best and easiest. So if you want that kind of content, that's where you can find it. And I've got Patreon. Think of Patreon as the tip jar for the internet. So if you like the job that I'm doing here and you'd like me to continue, please consider tossing a few coins in my direction. If you'd rather join the community that I have here on YouTube, that could also be a possibility, and I would really appreciate that as well. I still don't have a name for it. My camera just cut out on me because it was totally full, and I only had a couple more things to say. So Yay, that's great. I like that for me. Anyway, I still don't have a name for my community, so if you guys want to help me name my community, hey, leave me some suggestions down below. I will look at all of them, and I will pick the ones that I think are the coolest, and I'll put it in a poll, and you guys can vote, and we can decide together as a family. Anyway, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace.